That's right, baby. It's time for movie trailer trash. Enjoy.
Hey everybody, this is Movie Trailer Trash. I'm Bethany.
I'm Charlie.
And we just watched the trailer for Yesterday.
Yesterday. It's a song about, or it's a movie about the Beatles song.
There you go.
It's a song about the Beatles movie.
But, well, maybe someday someone will write a song about this movie, and then that'll be like weird.
Yesterday. Actually what this movie is.
Oh yeah, let's tell them.
Well, yeah, first of all, did you say what we are, who we are?
Oh, so we're Movie Trailer Trash. If you're new, thanks for listening.
If you're new, thanks for listening.
We watch trailers and we talk about them. Go on this ride with us.
Yeah, and there's been a lot that have come out recently that are kind of a big deal, but also not really super interesting. Like that weird Aladdin one with Will Smith
I haven't
being
seen
all
that
blue.
trailer yet. I know I probably should have, but
we're kind of avoiding Endgame trailers a little bit. Not actively avoiding,
well,
but
I mean, we have a while still, right?
yeah. Well, I mean, not really.
When's
There's
it come out?
A few months.
Oh my goodness, I'm not ready.
There's been a bunch of Captain Marvel ones, but hey, we figured that we'd get this one. It looks interesting. And it looks unique.
Look, sometimes I just shoot Charlie a text and say, I want to do this. And, then we make it happen. I'm excited about this movie. I'll say that.
So, and there's a quick pitch for this movie.
Yeah.
It's just one day, everybody in the earth besides one person forgets that the Beatles ever existed and all of their songs.
Yeah. In fact, the internet no longer has anything on them.
Right.
The Beatles basically are erased from history. But for some reason, this one person still remembers. So it's kind of hilarious. The concept is that the entire Earth, the power goes out, which I don't know what that has to do with forgetting the Beatles, but the power
maybe
goes
this
out.
is a setup for
like a weird conspiracy.
Maybe this is a Cloverfield universe movie.
Maybe. Well, so the power goes out across the world, and because it all goes out and he's riding his bike and it all goes dark and then he gets hit by a car. So the idea is that he's in recovery for a while, and then when he comes out of recovery, this friend of his who clearly likes him a lot, like has a crush on him, gets him a guitar as a gift, probably like a welcome home gift. Yeah, he's a musician, but also he had talked to her before and said that it was his last gig. He was singing at some kid's party, and he said, if I haven't made it by now, I'm never gonna make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she probably was trying to encourage him, here's a guitar, welcome home, here's a really nice guitar. And so he sits down and he sings the song Yesterday because he's just trying out the guitar, and she's just like, oh my gosh, when did you write that? And he's like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't write that. And so that's how it kind of begins. And he starts searching and figuring it out. And then he tells her, at one point, he knocks on her door and says, do you really not know who the Beatles are? And she's like, yes, genuinely, I don't. And he said, then I'm in a tough spot. Because he's trying to decide, I could get famous and rich off of this.
Which he does. He goes on to get famous.
Of course he does.
And
he's a good singer and a good musician, at least good enough. So it's kind of cool. Imagine if there are so many people out there that are amazing singers, but they can't write their own music or they can't get discovered. And imagine if they had this gift of, we'll give you some of the greatest songs of all time and just let you take credit for them.
So yeah, he goes on and then he goes on to talk shows and he gets to do stuff with
people
Ed
are chasing
Sheeran,
him in the street,
and it's all very good.
Girls
and
are like,
the whole thing, will be him not feeling good about his fame because he stole it from someone else, and his heroes essentially, and then his girlfriend will get mad at him because
she's not his girlfriend.
She's just
I don't think.
What did she say?
A school teacher, and he's the greatest singer-songwriter of all time is what she said.
And I think that what's happening is that eventually on the James Corden show that he's on, that they eventually will bring out Paul McCartney and Ringo. And they are going to claim that they wrote those songs. And so I think it's legitimately everyone just forgot about them.
Which is interesting though, because so then my question is, did they forget and were they reminded when they heard them? Or did they remember but everybody else forgot? Or is there going to be some weird backstory where they never actually got famous, but they did write those songs and he somehow they are going to think he found them? It's all very interesting. How can they go with this strange, weird kind of, I was going to say sci-fi, but it's not sci-fi really. It's like a weird fantasy type thing. in that fantasy world, how are they going to deal with that? I don't know.
The main character, so the guy who knows all the Beatles songs, is Himesh Patel, and this is his first movie. He's been in a decent amount of TV shows and TV movies and stuff like that, but this is his first.
Any TV shows I would have seen him in?
No, they're mostly British. They're mostly BBC shows.
Because there's something about him. He looks real familiar. I don't know why.
And then there's Lily James, who is the other main character, and she was in Baby Driver.
Yeah, and she was also in Mamma Mia 2.
Yes,
was she in Mamma Mia 1 or just Mamma Mia 2?
I don't know.
I think she was just in Mamma Mia 2. Listen,
isn't she supposed to be young Meryl Streep?
Yeah, okay, then she was just in Mamma Mia 2.
I don't know. Anyway.
Listen, I haven't seen it, but she was in that. You may have recognized
her
when I
saw that Ed Sheeran was like 4th on the cast list, I was like, oh, God, this is going to be terrible.
It looks funny.
But he's playing Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And he's just probably like his,
Yeah. I don't think that Ed Sheeran's... I was going to say a bad guy. Obviously, he's not a bad guy. Actually, what do I know? I don't know him.
Okay.
But, I mean, nowadays, you never know. You get stories all the time. But from what I can tell, he's an okay guy. I don't love his music, but he seems kind of funny. Like, I've seen him do a couple of prank shows and stuff, and I think he's funny enough to be in a movie like this.
Just because a musician is kind of funny doesn't mean that they should be in movies. Just like if an actor is kind of good at music doesn't mean he should make albums.
Sure, but also sometimes
like
it works out really well.
Lieutenant Dan Band.
I'm just saying sometimes it works out really well, like with Jamie Foxx, who can do both.
Jamie Foxx started as both, though.
Doesn't matter.
He was never like switched. He's not like Bruce Willis or Jeff Goldblum or.
Listen, it's like you said though. He's playing himself, and I think they needed somebody, and I think he's a really good person because. You know, his music is kind of, I'm not going to say it's like the Beatles because it's not, but it's like that type of music. It's pop music. It's soft pop, you know.
Yeah, I don't really like his music.
I'm just saying it would make sense that if none of us knew about the Beatles and those songs started coming out, it would make sense that he would want to work with that person.
He's British. They're in England. He lives in England.
So it makes sense that he would want to work with that person is all I'm saying.
But yeah, so, okay, the director for this movie is what makes it interesting to me.
Okay.
I feel like I wouldn't be very interested in this movie at all if it weren't for the director.
Okay.
So the director is the same director of Slumdog Millionaire.
Yep.
He also directed
pretty good movie.
Sunshine.
Ooh, wait, Sunshine?
Very good sci-fi movie.
Oh, I like that movie.
He directed Steve Jobs, where Michael Fassbender, written by Aaron Sorkin.
Okay.
He did 127 Hours. And
heard that was good.
28 Days Later. Which is like a scary movie.
Yeah.
And those are all very good movies. Danny Boyle is his name. And he's great. He's obviously a very good director because those are all very good movies. He hasn't done a lot of really bad ones. And so that's what is kind of interesting to me about this. What I'm not excited about is the writer.
Okay, yeah.
Who wrote Love Actually.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote Mamma Mia 2.
Yeah.
Which is why you brought that up.
Yeah.
He also wrote, I think, the story for 4 Weddings and a Funeral, which I've heard is, kind of funny, but it's also dated.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be writing the live-action Little Mermaid.
Wonderful.
Coming up soon.
Not a fan. Not a fan of live-action Disney.
But this trailer kind of gave off a very Love Actually vibe to me.
Fair enough. It gave off just a really great movie vibe to me.
I
had no idea who the director was or any of that. I saw it and I was like, this just looks like such a good movie. Like, I just feel like it's going to be happy. It's going to be fun. You're going to be like, it's like a great excuse to have a movie with all the Beatles songs in it. Like a while back, they made that Across the Universe movie. And
I like how you said that,
sorry.
like with the rhythm of the song.
Across the Universe movie. And
Across the Universe?
I didn't see it. Some people loved it, but it just looked painfully artsy to me. I couldn't bring myself to see it.
2-hour-long music video.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not into it. But you know what I am into? The Beatles. And fun rom-coms.
There's
rom-com drum.
Across the Universe has a great version of Let It Be in it.
Really?
It's real good.
Well, anyway, the point is, I think this is a fun, great excuse to get to play a bunch of Beatles songs in a movie. And then also it just looks fun and interesting. It looks like heartwarming. It kind of reminded me of Chef Like it just like I feel like you'll feel as good as you did when you saw Chef. And for those of you who haven't seen Chef, it's just a really great movie. It's just really, that's the way everybody describes it, is like it just makes you feel good. And we need that in the world sometimes. Plus, I just think it's a unique, interesting concept. I've never seen a movie where the whole world forgets about something except for one person. That's interesting.
I'm intrigued by it. I just don't know. I don't know how much of the good stuff that I saw from the trailer will be in it, opposed to like the kind of sappier stuff.
So did that guy write it alone, or were there other writers on the?
There was a oh God, what
roster.
was it? Here, I'm actually gonna check because it was.
Because I am curious, because that
story.
Makes a difference if somebody wrote it alone.
Jack Barth, who wrote the story. He is a writer, but he's only done like TV series and stuff like that.
So yeah, I mean, I'm sure directing has a lot to do with it.
He was a writer on The Simpsons for a bit.
There you go. It looked fun. It didn't look like laugh out loud funny,
nope.
but it looked
One
like
episode.
It was probably somewhat funny. This movie. Yeah. And I love that girl from Baby Driver. She's just very compelling, and I think she's a good actress from what I've seen.
I do too. I thought you didn't like her.
Her face is very alluring.
Oh, okay. I thought you didn't like her in that.
I didn't like her singing in that. When she was singing B-A-B-Y Baby, I was very annoyed by it. I was like, this is the worst part of the whole movie. I was just like, is she singing that in tune? Is that the tune?
I think she's not supposed to be a great singer. She's supposed to be like a normal person.
Anyway.
Because she can sing.
Yeah. So anyway, she's cute. I am always excited about a movie that looks like a great movie that has, a person of color as the lead, especially like a big Hollywood movie like this. You don't see that a lot. And the lead guy is Indian. And he sounds like he has a good voice.
Well,
we'll see.
So
and
like
it's kind of cool that it's his
breakout
breakout movie.
Like I like that when he gets in the car crash, a bunch of his teeth get knocked out. And there's
I didn't even think about that.
There's some scenes afterward where he just doesn't have like half of his top teeth, and I wonder how long they're going to have him like that. Because if they were to have him like that literally until he got really famous, then I think that would be kind of interesting. It would be like a moment or something, that can tell you when he's changed or whatever, and all of his friends hate him.
Yeah.
I feel like I can predict this movie fairly well.
Maybe. I mean, okay, you know what else it reminds me of? That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
Like a movie, like a fictional movie about musicians, and there's going to be some, rising to the top, and then somehow your fall, the moment where you've kind of gotten as big as you can get and there's nowhere else to go.
I've seen a thing about, because there's been a few musician biopics that have come out, fairly recent. There's Bohemian Rhapsody, and there was a James Brown one a little while ago, and a Jimi Hendrix one.
There was that one with that woman that it was kind of controversial who they chose. Zoe Saldana, I think, played. Okay. There was some female musician. It was controversial because they picked a really light-skinned woman to play her, and it didn't make sense.
There was.
I was just trying to join in. Go on.
A lot of people have been saying, and I agree with them. I know you don't like this movie as much as I do, but a lot of people have said that Walk Hard kind of ruined musician biopics because it was so good at pointing out every single little cliche that they do that no one can make them anymore. Like
they have to find a new way to do it.
Yeah, like even if they do find a new way to do it, that story is, it's very similar. If it's compelling, it's usually someone who's down on their luck. They find fame. They do something dumb. Someone's saying something, and then they pick out that one word. That's the name of the song.
I feel like who cares though? I mean, that's like there's been so many movies about the cartel and mobsters and like drug dealers that are all exactly the same.
But there's never been a good parody of those.
I think it doesn't matter because if you can watch them and it's already been done a million times and it's still interesting to you, it's the same thing. Like, I watch those movies and I'm like, oh, here we go again. Like, I can tell exactly where they're going.
It's just like how Weird Al ruined Gangster's Paradise.
I would say he fixed it. But that's another story for another day.
I think that this is going to fall into the same kind of thing.
Sure.
I'm interested. I'm interested in what happens when what I'm assuming is Paul and Ringo show up. if that's just kind of supposed to be like a cute little thing, then that would be disappointing. But if it's like a big turning point of the movie, that would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely interested, and it also just looks like a fun romance. Like, I'm sure he'll get with the girl at some point, and it'll be cute.
Yeah, they'll break up. He'll
I
lose.
like it.
They'll break up.
I don't know if he's dating her in the first place.
This is what's gonna happen.
She's like,
this
I've
is
been
exactly
waiting for
what's
you to
gonna
love me.
happen. They'll break up because he gets famous and ignores her. Then he'll start dating like super hot celebrities that don't care about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he loses all of his money to Paul McCartney and Ringo, he'll be brokenhearted.
How on earth will they prove that?
He'll get hit by another truck and all of his fake teeth will fall out. And then he'll wake up on the street corner and look up at her and she'll be there. And then they'll get back together and get married.
You'll find out that none of that actually happened. Yep. He'll wake up and that'll be the first time he got hit by the car.
Right.
He had that dream while he was in a coma.
If that's what happened, that would be so lame.
He'd be like, I had this crazy dream where nobody remembered the Beatles. And she'd be like, cool.
Because I could see that happening.
Yeah.
That being the end of the movie, but I don't think so. I don't know.
No, probably not. Because people know that that's kind of a cop-out.
I don't know. How did Mamma Mia 2 end?
I don't know. All right. So do you want to go on to the next section?
What is the next section?
Rotten Tomatoes?
Wrong.
Where, when, and how are you going to see this movie?
Do you even listen to this show?
Where? When? How?
Are you going to see this movie? Where, when, and how are you going to see it? This is a interesting question for this one. I'm interested to hear what you have to say because it comes out June 28th of this year.
All right.
And so that's going to be around the same time as a lot of big old movies.
Oh, I thought you were going to say big events like my 30th birthday.
No one cares about that.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Yeah, so, what big movies are you thinking of that are coming out around June?
I think that John Wick's around that time.
Okay.
I had a list.
Look, here's the thing. I do think that this is going to be really good, but I don't think you're going to have to see it in theaters to appreciate it like you would. Like, not that you have to see John Wick in theaters, but you should.
Yeah, you
but like
you do
John
have
Wick,
to see John Wick in theaters.
We saw the first two not in theaters.
Yeah, and I will do it again.
Yeah, and I was sad about it.
I've always hated myself.
No, but I think John Wick 3 will be great in theaters. Obviously, you got to see Endgame. You got to see
Captain Marvel.
Thank you. There's
Toy
a lot
Story
of stuff.
4.
Yeah. You got to see Toy Story 4 in theater, but do you need to see this one in theater? I would say no. Except that it's fun to support unique movies.
When Us comes out, you have to see that in theaters.
I'm not seeing that in
You
theater.
have to see it in theaters.
Then I'll never see it.
You have to.
I'm scared, guys. I'm really scared. But anyway, so here's what's going to happen. I'll probably rent this movie, but I think that I'll enjoy it, and I think it'll be really fun. It'll be a great Saturday morning, late morning. Like a 10 a.m. Saturday movie. In your PJs.
In your PJs?
Eating cinnamon rolls.
How many cinnamon rolls?
Probably 3. Fresh,
Whoa!
Fresh from the oven. Pillsbury.
3 cinnamon rolls. Okay. Let's see. Where, when,
Just
and how
like
am I going to see this one? I think that this will be a movie that will be on a streaming service at some point.
Maybe.
I think it'll probably be on Amazon Prime. I have no reason for that. And I think that this will be one that I will pretend to forget about, but keep in my back pocket just in case I want to make it seem like I'm doing something for you.
Wow. Manipulative. Is this the way you are inside your brain and I never knew it?
Yeah, most of my decisions, everything I do.
Tricking me this whole time?
Everything I do, I plan at least 2 years in advance.
Wow. I don't want to wait 2 years to see this movie. But here's the thing, okay? I feel like this is a good 10 a.m. Saturday morning movie, right?
Cinnamon rolls,
all that.
3.
But I could also see us going to see it like a matinee on a Saturday or like a random Tuesday night, especially in the summer when we can walk to the theater because we're close enough to walk. I could see it being like, hey, we got nothing going on. I could see us doing that and just going for
I could
fun.
Also... but I would say that I wouldn't pay the full ticket price to go see this movie. So I would do it during the day or whatever.
Well, and the thing that is kind of a little sad for us is we moved out of the city. We used to live in Kansas City very recently. And this definitely back in the day when we lived in the city, we would have gone to Screenland to see this.
Yeah.
Up north. So we would have gone to a smaller theater, basically. There's a fun small theater just north of Kansas City that we like to go to called Screenland. And we still could. It's just a drive.
Yeah, it's not a very far drive.
Yeah, sure. But it's further than our walk.
That is true. We could walk to a movie theater right now.
Yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to compare this movie to.
Oh, okay.
Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah, there's some quality about it. I just think movies like this where it's telling a story about people and it's not quite, it doesn't fit perfectly in comedy or drama. I like those kinds of movies.
Here's the thing about this one that I think is missing from it that makes me not super excited about it is like, I don't know, someone needs to have a little bit of a edge, I guess.
Yeah, that's why it reminds me of the others. I mean, not the others.
But like Little Miss Sunshine,
yeah.
People are mean and like just spiteful and
okay,
sad
so
or
but let's go
whatever.
back to Chef though, like
right,
that one.
Chef, yeah.
There's like that's the thing that's bizarre about it because yeah, usually you need more of a conflict, but
does
nobody's
open
mean
up
in it.
with him screaming at that
sure.
food critic.
Well, there will be conflict, but will it be
like
edgy personalities? Probably not.
Like it's possible that I think this would be better if this guy was like malicious about stealing the songs. was like really wanted to make a ton of money off of this and just not care about
it would
how
be
bad
funny
he felt.
if like before his accident if he talked about how the Beatles were overrated. Like he'd be like, I don't hate them, they have a good song or two, like Yesterday is
and
fine.
everyone would freak out.
Yeah, everybody's freaking out, and then he's like, now I feel like a real jerk because I'm about to get famous.
But don't you think that might be more interesting? So like he like really like maliciously doesn't care at all, and then when he's at his most famous, like in that press conference where he says it feels like sometimes someone else is writing them, like that's when he starts to feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'll be interesting. It's definitely got us talking, and I'm interested to see this new actor who I've never seen, who's apparently British.
Yeah.
So do you want to go on now to the Rotten Tomatoes scores?
I think that now would be a good time.
All right, because this is the time we do that.
Because this is the time on Movie Trailer Trash where we Rotten Tomato. Rotten Tomatoes percentages! Aye! All right, Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to go first.
Go ahead.
And I am going to say, oh man, I feel like this is a hard one. Because I really don't think that it will get, like, in the upper echelon of movies.
Sure, yeah,
and
that's
I really
fair.
don't think that it'll get, like, a under 40 because it's an original idea.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to go safe-ish, and I'm going to say 58%.
Wow. I feel like that's quite low.
Yeah, you might be right.
But that's cool. You already said it, so too late. I'm going 76%.
And I was going to say that that's around what I would give the audience rating.
Yeah.
75-ish.
Yeah, I think audience and critics are going to be about the same on this. I think this is going to be a free fire style where they're both it's like everybody gave it somewhere in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's like nobody hated the movie. Nobody would put it on their favorites list, but it was a good time.
Yeah, that's a good
And that's a good example because that movie we went and saw on a random night when we had nothing to do.
I was really excited about that movie, though.
Yeah, but you weren't so excited that you made me go see it right away. Like, it was still, you were like, oh, that sounds fun. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. And it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I should watch that again sometime. That was a good one.
So, okay, Charlie and I have guessed the scores. And I think that we've mentioned a lot of fun and interesting movies this podcast, this episode.
Yeah.
Which is something for those of you who are new that we like to do is just talk about movies that remind us of other movies.
Oh, really? Is that what we do?
Yeah, and also point out, movies that we think everyone should see, especially the ones that a lot of people haven't yet. So Free Fire is a good one because that has Brie Larson, who's about to be in that, why can't I remember what it's called? Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
She's about to be Captain Marvel, so she's about to be a big movie star. Not that she isn't already.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she won the Oscar for Best Actress.
Absolutely, she did for Room.
Yeah.
But the point is, Brie Larson. It has her in it. It's a very funny movie and a weird movie, and it's I would recommend it.
Yeah.
If you want something different.
Also has Armie Hammer in it.
Yeah, and that guy,
Charlton Copley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he South African?
He is South African. He's from Johannesburg.
And he is very funny. And what else was he in?
District 9.
Thank you. District. Oh, and he was in that other sci-fi movie with Matt Damon. Elysium. Gosh, he's an interesting character.
Well,
like person.
All of those movies. Well, no, not Free Fire, but Elysium and District 9 are by the same director, who is also South African, and he loves him.
Well, I like Charlton Copley.
Copley. Good old Copley.
Listen, it's like Saoirse Ronan. It's like somebody has to say it correctly for me to hear it, and then I get it. So what is it?
Chapo Copley.
No. All right. Anyway, the point is, yeah, he's great. He's fun. Free Fire. But this movie looks interesting. I just wanted to bring it up because a lot of times on this podcast we'll bring up movies that maybe a lot of people haven't heard of, and they end up being great, and I'm glad that we can put them out there into the world for people to hear about. Because there's definitely been a couple of smaller movies, especially A24 movies, that we have talked about that, there's been 2 where the either director or writer has reached out to us.
I think that what we did
so
an A24 episode fairly recently.
Yeah, with like 3 or 4 movies in it.
I think that one of those was like either not released fully or has been delayed or something like that. That Andrew Garfield one. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, you know what? And we've done this before actually, where we talk about, or maybe we talk about on the podcast, or you and I just talk about a trailer and then like it doesn't come out till like 2 years later and they had a name change.
Yeah.
There was that one movie about the Ed Helms trying to find his real dad.
Oh yeah, they changed the name of it.
It was called Bastards.
Yeah.
And then they changed the name to like
Find Your Daddy.
Or something a lot less mean.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, something like that. And either way, it looked bad. I'm sure it was bad. And that was one of those where it took 2 years for them to bring it out. And then when they did, I was like, wait a second, wasn't that called Bastards?
I wonder what percentage of movies that have daddy in the title are bad.
Well,
excluding porn.
We've got Daddy Daycare.
Not good.
We've got Big Daddy. Pretty good.
Big Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah, I'm a fan.
Scuba Steve?
I like that one.
It's fine.
I like that one. Listen,
it's fine if I'm in middle school.
I'm under no impression that Adam Sandler is like some sort of comedy genius or anything, but I do enjoy a few of his movies.
Every single Adam Sandler movie, except for
is
Funny
subpar.
People, is good if I'm in middle school.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Funny People, though, never good.
There's parts of Funny People that I like. It's way too long. That's just the biggest problem with it. It's got a lot of good
It's got other problems, too.
And
it's got some other big problems,
stuff.
too.
I really like the whole like Adam Sandler playing basically himself, and he has all those posters up on the wall of those ridiculous movies.
Yeah,
that he's supposed to be
that's
in,
funny.
where he like turns into a baby for a day and stuff like that.
Anyway, we digress a bit.
Only a little bit.
I was gonna say about this movie that we're talking about, which is Yesterday.
No, it's today.
We're talking about it right now. So I was gonna say, part of the reason I think I got excited is because I haven't seen a fun, like, music style, like biopic style, like fictional biopic style movie in a while. And I was thinking about like Almost Famous is another good one. Is that fictional though, or is that based on a real story?
It's based on a real
like
story, but it's not a
based.
real band.
Exactly.
Or anything.
So there's Always Famous. There's
Almost Famous.
Sorry, Almost Famous.
Almost Famous.
That Thing You Do is really good. And those are fun movies. So when I saw this, it just looked like fun, because any movie that has like a super catchy song in it or multiple songs, you're going to enjoy it all the way through. It's kind of like a big reason why I think a lot of people loved Baby Driver, is because the music was so good throughout. Rockstar
is a movie where Mark Wahlberg is like just some guy, and he tries out to be the replacement lead singer in his favorite band.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Was it good?
No.
Cause
I think people like it. I barely remember it. It was on Comedy Central sometimes.
Let me know if I'm wrong here, but when you were talking about that, I was thinking, isn't that a movie where he gets a chance to try out for a football team.
Well, that's a different movie.
Is he in that one?
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds like the exact same thing where it's like everybody, like one fan gets the opportunity to be on the team and then he tries out.
That's how he got that job.
Oh, wow. Well, anyway, I think that type of movie is fun. We don't get a lot of it. A lot of times we get based on true stories, right? And that's fun too sometimes. I don't know. I mean, it's like Johnny Cash, okay, when Walk the Line came out. I didn't know much about Johnny Cash at all when I saw that movie. Like, God, I was in high school, and I watched it on my own. Like, I rented it or something on, maybe I wasn't in high school, maybe I was in college, but I rented it on, like, Redbox or something. And I watched it alone, and I was just like, wow, Johnny Cash is great. Like, I knew that I like a couple of his songs, but now I'm like a really big Johnny Cash fan, and it's because I got to see this fun story, and all the way through the music was great. So even when bad things are happening or funny things, whatever, regardless of what's happening in the movie, you can sit back and enjoy the music, and then they also give you a fun little story.
There you go. All right, well, let's wrap this up. We've already gone way too long over. Whoops.
I'm just smiling.
All right, so you can go to our website, mttpodcast.com. You can go to our Twitter, at MTT Podcast. We have Instagram. We have all the other stuff. Go to
you can
iTunes.
Find us around.
And rate and review us on iTunes. That's the best place to do.
Please do that.
We're on Spotify now. You can listen to us on Spotify.
Yeah, and tell your friends about us because word of mouth is real big in the podcast world. If anybody's ever complaining to you that they don't have a new podcast to listen to, Movie Trailer Trash.
Yeah.
Just, subscribe. And as always, we really appreciate you guys. We love our listeners. And we're doing movie trivia nights again on the last Thursday of every month in Kansas City. You can find out more about that on our Facebook.
Yes, and as always, you can follow our friends Entertainment Buffet at Entertainment Buffet and subscribe to their YouTube channel as well.
Na 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 na. Hey, dude.
Nailed it.